something to show you folks. Well, I'll tell you a little story first of all. Okay. Now, as you know, I quite like artillery. Right? I don't play all that much artillery when I'm streaming because I know that it's not the most interesting thing to watch on a stream.
Well, if you watch over me, I can be interesting.
But anyway, the thing is, I do quite like artillery. It's my second most played class. Right? Not as some people think that I only ever play artillery. That is absolutely untrue. But anyway, a couple of weeks ago I did a poll on the World of Tanks International Facebook group because there were people who were posting posts saying everybody hates artillery, nobody likes artillery, people only play artillery for the missions. Now I know that was complete and total bollocks. So I thought I'd try and prove it. So I put up a poll on What International. Do you like artillery? Don't you like artillery, basically? Now, I admit I did a stupid thing. And that was that when I was told that certain clans were deliberately trying to get all their clan members to vote on the I hate artillery bit, I then went and posted a link to the poll on the What Arty Noobs group. With hindsight, that was a stupid thing to do. Because basically now there's a whole load of people saying, oh, you can't trust Zoe because she's trying to fix the results. Actually, I did it in retaliation to the haters fixing the results in the first place, but I shouldn't have done it. Anyway, the results of the polls were deleted from What International. The thread where I announced the results of the poll was also deleted. Everything has been deleted. Alright? And they still insist that hardly anybody likes artillery. Yeah, and anybody who says anything different is complete and total bullshitter, comes from a different planet, etc., etc.
It's part of the game.
Now, I have done another
all
2
these
polls,
maps,
and those polls have been on the What forums. And I asked Nigel, who runs What Arty Noobs, and I said, if anybody tries to even post a link to those polls on What Arty Noobs, please delete it. Now, as far as I'm aware, nothing has been posted on the What Arty Noobs group. So, in theory, nobody can accuse me this time of fixing the figures. Okay? And now I am going to show you the figures. Now then, let's start at the beginning. On the poll on World of Tanks International.
I'll be right back, Zoe.
Okie dokie. This is how the voting went. Okay, people who dislike artillery, 46%. People who like artillery, 52%. Now that is with a margin of error, and I'll explain about that in a few minutes. Okay, the other poll that I put on there is about how many people dislike or like wheeled vehicles, as you can see here. And the number of people who disliked wheeled vehicles was 48%, but the number of people who liked wheeled vehicles was 23%. In other words, twice as many people dislike wheeled vehicles as like them. Whereas with the artillery, on that poll, it actually turned out that more people liked artillery than disliked it. However, those figures have been questioned. Or more to the point, the haters just simply completely disbelieved them. So, I have done 2 more polls. One on the EU and one on the NA. and this was on the World of Tanks forums. Now the results there were similar, not identical, but similar. Okay, out of a total of 217 people who voted on the EU before the thread was actually closed by Wargaming themselves, 44% of people said that they dislike artillery. 47% of people said that they liked artillery. Now, exactly the same poll, exactly the same wording on the NA had virtually the opposite. Okay, 47% saying that they dislike artillery and 43% who said that they liked artillery. But the point is that it's roughly, very roughly, the same. Roughly the same results. Overall...
Yeah, half of the population doesn't like it and half of the population does.
Yep. And when you take both servers into account, proportion who dislike artillery, 45%, proportion who like artillery, 45%.
I don't like it or dislike it, but I accept it as part of the game.
Okay. Now, then the question is, or one of the things that people keep saying, you can't tell how can you believe a figure when you've only got a total of 416 people out of 3.9 million people who are registered on the NA and the EU forums? And there is a reason as to why you can believe it. Okay.
I can explain that a lot of the registries probably don't even get used, though.
Okay, now then, there is a thing, basically margin of error. Okay. You can have a poll, and you can poll just one person out of a group. That is going to leave a very large margin of error.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Now you can poll an entire country with 1,000 people. Alright? But there is a margin of error there. The point is, total population of the NA and the EU, 3.9 million. Okay, just under 4 million if you take the two servers into account. Now, I wanted to have the figures as tight as you can get them. So, I said that I wanted the confidence level in the poll to be 99%. So the results are 99% sure of being correct. Now my sample size was the total number of people who actually voted, which was 416. And what it gives us is a margin of error of 6%. Okay, let's take this figure here. People who dislike Arty on the EU forum. We are 99% sure that that figure is correct, plus or minus 6%. Okay? So that basically means that the number of people who dislike Arty on the EU server is between 38% and 50%. The number of people who like Arty on the EU server is between 41% and 53%. But anyway, my point is this. Okay, a large proportion. It may be more than half, it may be less than half, but a large proportion on as near reliable poll results as you can get. Like artillery. Also, a large proportion dislike artillery.
Honestly,
my point is that people who claim that 99% of people hate artillery. Bullshit. Absolute cobblers. There are the figures. So basically, what I'm saying is the number of people who like Arty compared to the number of people who dislike Arty is pretty much split evenly.
I don't like those wheeled tanks more than I don't like Arty.
Yeah, well, that's what my poll on the World of Tanks International. Roughly the same proportion of people dislike wheeled vehicles, but less than half the number of people actually like wheeled vehicles, which I'm one of them. I like them.
Well, they move really fast and they have derpy guns.
Anyway, there you go. That is the results of the polls which I did. And there will be people who are going to dispute those figures. And I will say, well, I've done the polls, I've got those figures, prove that I'm wrong.